What's going on, everybody? Mike here, AHC Garage. Welcome back to the channel. Today we're back with another episode on our EM1 restoration project. Now, the last episode, we got everything in the back here, all finished up, suspension and the brakes. And today we'll be working right up in the front. Alright guys, to start off the front suspension, first we'll start off with the front subframe and the steering system. So we got a used power steering rack that is completely rebuilt. Unfortunately, we're not able to get some of the footages on camera, but that rack is completely rebuilt. Along with that, we got our subframe or cross member that's completely powder coated, along with some of these brackets. Now over here, we got a bunch of brand new OEM part, inner tie rod end, the boots, the clamps, along some of the hardware. Now TJ is over here gonna help us to install, I guess, the power steering rack today.
That's right.
So obviously we gotta put the rack in, and once we put the rack in, our goal is to put the inner tie rod end, and this inner tie rod end does takes a special tools.
That's right, it takes this tool right here. So you got a bunch of different sizes here that fit a whole bunch of different inner tie rod ends, and it pretty much just goes around the big part of the inner tie rod end, and you're gonna put this in here. This piece goes in there, and you use a 1/2-inch wrench, tighten it down.
All right, so I mean, it's probably a little hard for you guys to understand what he's saying, but let's go ahead and start putting this power steering rack back in the subframe. Then we can start assemble the inner tie rod end, then you guys have a better idea what he's talking about. All right, so with the inner tie rod end in place, now TJ is gonna show you guys what he's gonna do with that special tool.
All right, so we're here, we got one of the adapters, which this is 1 1/4 inch. And you pretty much just stick it over here on the inner tie rod. And now we're gonna take this tool here, and this thing has slots right here in there. You're just gonna line that up with the 2 slots on here. All right, and that's it. And now what we're gonna do is just take our wrench here and snug up the inner tie rod. All right.
And that's all there's to it, huh?
And that's it.
All right, guys, so we finally put the cross member back up along with the power steering rack, and everything looked super mint up here. Now, next up, we got some suspension that we could be putting on, and TJ gonna tell us a little bit more what we have here.
All right, well, what we have here in box number 1 is the hard race upper OEM style control arms. And basically, it's just upgraded hardened bushing, and it's made with, you know, OEM look to it. Nice quality on those.
Yeah, I love that.
Over here in the second box, same thing, hard race lower control arms, OEM quality with upgraded hardened bushings.
And along with the hard race lower control arms, we have these OEM brackets that go here that we send out and get powder coated. And we got both the lower control arm from hard race on the vehicle. And next up, we're gonna work on the sway bar for the front here. We got freshly powder coated sway bar right over here, dealing bushings, covers, along with a set of brand new sway bar links. And with the sway bar out of the way, we're gonna go ahead and install the hard race upper control arm.
Ready?
Go ahead. Well guys, with the hard race upper and lower control arm installed, next up, we are ready for our coilovers. Just like a rear suspension, we have our Fortune Auto 500 series coilovers right over here. Let's go ahead and get them both out. All right, guys, just like that, we're all done with the steering system, able to bolt up the cross member or the subframe. Now, next up, Miguel's gonna help me work on the front suspension. Now, over here, we have a pair of freshly powder-coated knuckles along with some brake shield, wheel bearings, and lower ball joint. Now, to start this off, Miguel gonna help us with the lower ball joint. Talk to me, Miguel.
Yeah, so there's all different types of ways to put these in. You can use a press. Some people use a hammer. We don't like to use a hammer. There's a tool by SP Tools, basically designed to press this on the car. So you can do it on the car. It's even easier with the knuckles out. Use a air hammer, the tool, put it right in, good to go.
You know, the funny thing is we do have a pneumatic press, but to be quite honest, it's a lot more difficult pressing those ball joints with a press. So with this tool, this handy tool, I should say, Miguel really going to show you guys how we're going to be able to do that in less than 5 minutes.
Okay, so we have our ball joint here. Now we want to match one of these dies with the base of this. So I'm going to start with this one. I think it's this.
Oh yeah.
No. Okay. This one sits on there a little bit firmer, so she'll be able to stay on and press in with the tool. So let's get one of these bad boys set up.
So now, Miguel, with this setup, are you going to be using how are you going to press it in? Are you using like an impact gun?
So we're going to use the air hammer, okay? We're also going to use, like we mentioned, the cup that fits here, and we're going to use this that sits in here, and this end will sit in our air hammer. As we get it set up, like so, we'll be able to go right in. So we're going to go ahead and remove the boot with the ring. That way we don't take any chance of damaging it, because this is really what's going to keep the ball joint, give the ball joint its longevity. And there we have it.
Okay, with the ball joints out of the way, next up, let's go ahead and work on the wheel bearing. All right, guys, so we got both our knuckle assemblies all ready to go. Everything is pressed in, new bearings, backing plate, along with a brand new hub. Next up, let's go ahead and get them back on the car. All right, so we're down to the last stretch. We got the steering and the suspension out of the way. The very last section will be the front brakes. And over here on the table, we have a bunch of parts here, OEM and aftermarket. Aftermarket, Spoon Sports is where it's at right now. We have a set of iconic 4-piston caliper from Spoon. Along with that, we have a set of stainless steel brake line, 15-inch upgraded brake rollers along with some spacer and hardware. Now, as far as front brake pads go, we're gonna go with a set of OEM factory Integra Type R front brake pads. Now, before we get started, I wanna take a moment and show you guys something. All right, guys, so we got the front brake roller installed right here. This is the Spoon upgraded one, 15-inch, much larger than the OEM factory unit. Now, you take a closer look. Once you put the brake rollers on, one of the issues that we have with the EM1, in order for us to fit the Spoon caliper, you have to cut the backing plate. The other thing is because the brake roller is so much bigger, you're not be able to see the backing plate at all. And TJ came out with a really good idea.
Yeah, pretty much. Take the Type R OEM dust shield here, and it's actually meant to be for a 15-inch rotor, which you'll see the nice little outer lip of the shield here, you know, it'll look like the OEM Plus look that we're going for.
Now, with that being said, we're gonna have to take everything back off, including pressing the bearing back out to get the backing plate, but I think it's gonna be well worth it because the look is gonna be a lot better. All right, guys, so off camera, we went ahead to swap out those shields. Now we have the ITR shield on our EM1. Now, one of the tricks that we can do without cutting the shield, and all you gotta do is just bend this back a little bit so that caliper can be clear. And well, that's pretty much all we have to do. And then next up, we have this spacer here. They recommend to use a spacer so you got proper clearance between the rotors and the backing plate. You can grab that real quick. You're just gonna slide that right on to the hub, just like so. And then the brake rotor can go right on. And now take a look how good this looks. Now you got backing plate in the back. Man, looks super OEM, TJ.
That's right, now it actually fits.
All right, guys, so with the power steering hoses out of the way under the engine bay, we are all done with today's episode. We made tremendous progress on our EM1 restoration project, able to finish the front brakes, front suspension, and the entire power steering system with some refreshed OEM parts, some new ones, and also some really high quality aftermarket, and making this the ultimate OEM Plus restoration. On the next episode, we'll be jumping on the interior. You guys don't want to miss. Make sure you guys subscribe to our channel and also follow us on our social media pages, both Facebook and Instagram at Acura Honda Classic. My name is Mike, behalf of AHC Garage. Thanks again for watching. We hope to see all of you next week.